Hello everyone, I am Sudhir and I welcome all of you to Code Glancer. Welcome back once again. And in the last video, I was discussing about the problem associated with the testing, and when we were trying to test, basically the message and status code was not coming correctly. So it was coming like uh, 503 server error, but actually we were trying to throw the exception. So today basically I have fixed those problems. So let's start the video now. So in this video I will tell you what I have done to handle the exception globally. So in the last video we were seeing, okay, how to throw the exception in case user ID is not found. So I recommend you, if you have not watched my previous video, kindly go and watch, because that will give you a lot of confidence, and then you can continue on this video, because this is going to be all the things in very much sequential. So in last video we have seen here how we were throwing basically this exception, but it was not coming to the caller, like in this our case, like this is postman. So today I have tried to fix this. So how I have fixed this, let me explain you. So in Spring there is a concept called global exception handling, and that is basically handled through controller advice. So at the rate controller advice, if you place it like, if there is any exception or something, that will come here. Okay, so I just created one class like interview scheduler exception handler. I annotated with at the rate controller, and then if you see here what kind of exception we are throwing generally. So we are throwing exception like resource not found exception. And what is the type here? This is runtime exception, and it is having two attribute, message and code, right? And http status code, like what accepts http status code we want to return. So in our case we want to return as a 404, like resource not found, right? So in this scenario what we have to do, so from wherever you want to throw. So I am just using java optional here. So optional user dot or else throw, and this is the resource not found exception I am throwing here. But where I am handling this, like how this is coming directly to the caller. So to know this part we have to go into the exception handler. So this is interview scheduler exception handler, and here we have a one method basically. Okay, so what is the signature of this method? So this method signature is like whatever the exception you are throwing, that should contain, right, as a input. And okay, and it should be annotated with at the rate exception handler, because this is going to handle the exception. So what kind of exception? So in value you have to give the resource not found exception, like whatever the exception you want to handle basically. Okay, so all right. And so whenever someone is throwing that exception will basically always come to here, and from here you can return the response http response entity. So if you see here, this is like response entity, but this is not a normal response, this is a http response basically, right? So once I have this resource not found exception, what I am doing, I just made one response util class basically, just to prepare the data, right? So response util class and response dto class are like to make all the responses uniform, whether it is a success response or failure response. So this message and status code always be there. Along with that there will be some data section, which can be collection or which can be the list or which can be object. So this is one change also I have made here, right? So using this, what I am trying to do here, I am just building this response. So what will happen when we go to response util dot get failure response, because this is this time this is a failure because whatever user was looking for user service 3, right, that is not available. So in this case I am setting like status code as a failure here. Okay, and but HTTP status is something different. What I am sending here like 404. So if you see here, right, so this is 404, this is HTTP status, but status code here is failure, not success. Okay, so how we have achieved this? So this is the way to do it. So in your application you have to create one class, and that class should be annotated with @controller advice, and whatever the exception you are throwing, that exception should be as part of exception handler, correct? And then that you should define one method which is basically returning the response entity, or maybe like HTTP response. The choice is yours. And then you should build the response as well as give the uh, HTTP status code. So if you see here in our case, from the user service we are giving not found exception, HTTP status code as a not found exception, and this is the message resource not found. Okay, so if you see here like resource not found is coming as well as status not found is both coming. So this is like 3 is not available. So what will happen when I give 1 is already available. So in this case the message is coming like uh, data fetched successfully and status is success, and this is the data. All right, so now we are able to successfully handle uniform response as well. So in both the cases we have a message and status code and data field. And in case of failure, if we are giving here 3, what will happen? Say similar structure is maintained, but like in this case response not found, so that user will know. So whatever I am looking for, he is trying to get the user number 3, but it is not available. So that's why this is with respect to HTTP status code also 404 not found, and here also resource not found, right? So with this we can conclude this video. So in this video we have discussed about the global exception handling, how to handle the exception globally and throw the uniform response from the application. That's all in this video. Thank you very much for watching this video. Please continue to watch further video also, and stay tuned. Do like and subscribe. So I am just giving you one hint. In the next video, I am going to explain you about the candidate controller as well as talent controller, so that you can create the talent as well as create the you can create the talent as well as you can create the candidate. So once we are done with talent, candidate and user, we will be left with the interview. Okay, so then we will start with the interview, how we can schedule the interview. So next video is going to be for user control, for a talent controller as well as candidate controller. Okay, after that we will discuss the sequence diagram for interview controller, how we can schedule the interview, and what are the payload will be there, how it will send the email, right? So please stay tuned to watch this video. Thank you very much.